Hey everybody, welcome to the Rustic South. It's my channel. I'm Sherry. I'm so glad you're here. If you're returning, thank you. If you're new, hi. Hey, today we're going to make a bunny head, I would say, of a display, I guess for the shelf. And the ears you see on the screen there are from the rabbit wreath form that's from Dollar Tree. So I cut the ears off of it. And I have this half-shaped moon piece of wood that my husband had laying around. So I decided let's use that for this. So I cut the ears off of the wreath form. I drilled holes in the top of the, now what's going to be the head for the bunny. And I'm placing the metal ears in it. Here I'm, trying to figure out where I want the holes at. So I'm holding it up there and marking where I want them and then drilling holes. Hopefully everybody is comfortable with drilling holes. If you're not, maybe you could just, glue them to the back of a form if you want to use cardboard or something instead of wood for this project. You could just glue them to the back. Because I do show you here in a minute, I cut the face out of cardboard to kind of make it stand out from the wood. So you could put those ears right in the top part of that cardboard. But first we're going to cover it with some paper. This is some paper, some scrapbooking paper that I had found at Hobby Lobby a few weeks ago. And I'm just going to adhere it to the top of this with Mod Podge. I know I have a few holes and stuff in this wood, which is okay because we're going to cover it with paper anyway, so nobody's going to see those. But I did sand the wood to make sure it's nice and smooth. So let's cut out a half moon out of this and glue it on. Now I do have to warn you here on this part. I used Elmer's glue, if you will, or this is Dollar Tree's, glue in a bottle. But just don't go crazy with the wood, because whenever you're gluing paper to something and you use too much glue, you get kind of that, wavy look. You get little waves in the paper because there's too much glue underneath it, right? See, I left too much glue in some spots. You can't notice it, but if you were to touch it, you could kind of feel a little bit, but it does not show on the top. I did use my roller here, but and some glue did come out. If you see along the edge there, it did come out along the edge, but it still was too much. So just be aware of that. I am now aware. So it's overlapping the sides a little bit, but as soon as it dries, we will sand it off, rough up the edges. Then I made a template. You saw it on the wood before I put the paper on there so that we could make a face. So I used that to draw a face, to draw the outline on the piece of paper, and then I took that piece of paper and put it on top of cardboard, and then proceeded to cut out the shape of the head. Okay, so that's how we got to this point. And I just freehanded the shape of the head. I don't know, I just do stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys need some sort of dimensions to follow, because it all depends on what size wood you have, or if you're going to use wood, or if you're just going to use cardboard, right? But so I don't really have any kind of measurements to give you for the head, because all of this that we're doing will depend on what size the head, your head is that you make for the bunny. So I wanted to just, I like to see the under part of the cardboard. So, I opted to peel it a little bit. So, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to see um, the wrinkles, if you will, the baffles underneath, and by all means, don't shred your cardboard, the top of the cardboard. Just leave it whole. So I'm using just white the apple barrel white on the face. Not totally covering it, because I don't really see the reason why, because we're going to antique it ever so much, right? So, and I watered it down a little bit so it wasn't so like bright white. Again, let me take this opportunity to thank everybody if you're returning, and to welcome any newcomers to the channel. I'm so happy you found the channel, and I hope you love what you're watching. Please leave me a comment and let me know, will ya? What you think. Okay, so now I've decided, because lately I've been seeing, and you guys have probably seen it too, I've been seeing a lot of little glasses on rabbits, right? They kind of seem to be a little popular this year. So I decided that I wanted to do that with this one. So I took the pattern I made for the head. I drew sunglasses on the face of it, if you will. And now we're going to cut it out of lightweight cardboard. Like this is like a cereal box, or, lightweight, like that kind of cardboard, right? So I tape it to the box, and now we're going to cut it out. And what I did was I just happened to find something. I had one of those yogurt cups sitting on you saw me in the beginning. I took the yogurt cup and just went around it, and it fit perfectly. The edges from edge to edge was a little bit in the middle. So that's what I used. And then now you see I used a toilet paper roll to make the smaller circle on the inside so we could make the frames for the glasses. It's just weird how this worked out. Everything just seemed to fall into place this day that I needed, to make these little the frames for the rabbit. So now we're going to cut out the middle of the frames. So yeah, so make a slit in the middle of the frame itself, and then I had to use, or I felt like I needed to use the smaller scissors to cut this out, because this is kind of delicate work, so you don't cut through it. I mean, if you do, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But so I found it necessary to use these smaller crafting scissors. I don't know. I'm not even sure where I got these. But it's much easier to do smaller work like this with littler. Okay, so here are the glasses. I got the center all cut out. Now I'm going to paint them pink. That is Waverly pink, and my pink is very, very old. It was not completely dry, but there was nothing moving in the bottle. So I just added water and stirred until it became, paint consistency again. So if you have whatever pink you have, or whatever color you want to do, because I put green paper on the back, so I felt like I wanted to contrast that a little bit. So I made the frames pink. So by all means, paint your frames the color you wish. These turn out really cute. I'm glad that I'm trying this, and I hope you like this. It turns out cute. And we're going to rough up the edges here. So whenever you make your frames, you know, you can make frames of all different shapes, right? I mean, you have some that come out to points, some that are littler framed. And then I don't put eyes on mine because, I don't know, I feel like it just, I don't know, that it wouldn't come out right. So I didn't do it. So but on yours, if you want to put eyes on it, go right ahead. I did go ahead and put nose and whiskers, but I didn't draw a mouth on mine. I left it off. And when I made this, the day that I actually finished it, I didn't do the ears either. I was going to leave them exposed. But after a suggestion from my daughter, she suggested that I cover them because they were a little hard to see. Sometimes they blend in with the background, where depending where you're setting this, right? So I did go ahead and cover them with some, with one of those like buffing towels, if you will, from Dollar Tree that are fuzzy, they're white and fuzzy. So I did end up buying one of those and covering the ears. And I agreed with her. I think it turned out better with the ears covered. So now I'm antiquing around the edges. Distress it, you know, a little. I did not sandpaper any of the middle of it. I just did the edge, and then we're going to antique around the edge. And the head of the rabbit, I do go around the edge of the head with some of the distressed oxide. You do see me putting it in the middle of the face, if you will, here. But I think eventually I end up going back and putting a little more white because it was coming out a little darker than I wanted it to. Yeah, so I did go back and put a little watered down white back on the face again. It was a little too dark for it to look right for me. But now I'm antiquing the frames. Now here I've already put the nose on, which again, you guys, I don't think you need to watch me do that. That was a little heart, wooden heart that I got at Dollar Tree a few weeks ago with some raffia that I had just put underneath it. You know, 3 pieces, make them crisscross and so forth, and glue it down. Now here you see me putting little butterflies on the edge of the frame. I thought it added a little extra little girly effect. So, but those little butterflies I got at Dollar Tree as well, and I saw them there yesterday when I was at Dollar Tree poking around. So they are still available, you know, if you want those, or you could always find something else, I'm sure, at Hobby Lobby. One thing I kind of did too is I only glued the glasses right in the middle because I wanted to kind of bend them up a little bit, which you don't see it here, but I on mine I did bend them up a little bit just to kind of make them stand off the face just a little. So that's my little tidbit there that I did. Now see here, if you wanted to, you could draw the mouth. I don't know. I think I would end up messing it up if I did that. So that's why I felt like I didn't want to do that. So I didn't do it. And then here I have, my husband got me these little like garden stakes. So I ended up painting this little sign, but I ended up cutting the stake part of it off and just used the top part for stamping a little tag. I couldn't figure out if I wanted to use that little carrot. I was going to use the carrot. Then I thought, so I stamped bunny patch on the little tag. But I couldn't figure out if I wanted to use the carrot or the little garden place sign, if you will. Which one I wanted to use, but the carrot seemed to be too big, so, and I didn't have a way of making it smaller. I mean, I guess I could have cut it out of cardboard or something, but the little sign seemed to work okay. So I stamped the sign and I did grunge the sides, and now I'm putting one of these paper roses that I had gotten in a 6-pack at Hobby Lobby a few weeks ago, just before Valentine's Day. I didn't glue that on right, so I had to pull it off and redo it. But the roses, paper roses, they're at Hobby Lobby because I was there this morning, and they are in the gift wrapping section of my Hobby Lobby. They are. Hot glue always comes out one side or another, right? We're too glue gun happy. All right, so now we're going to be covering the ears with the chamois. I guess that's what I think. Well, not chamois. I'm not sure what it's called. I think I show you the picture of it here in a second. Now there's a picture of it before I do the ears, and it was a little hard to see the ears in some of the pictures, like there. See, now that I had left it out a few days, and I decided no. Okay, so this is when I went and found this super soft microfiber cloth from Dollar Tree, and I decided I'm going to cover the ears to make them more noticeable. And you have to forgive me on this video. I have never covered ears before. So I was like learning as I was going with this. And, you know, the second one I make comes out so much quicker and faster. But the first one I'm like, do I do this way, this way? And at first I was going to do it this way, and then I'm like, no, there's all this extra fabric. That's silly. So wait a second. No, not that way. Yes. Move it over. Glue it together. That way there's no bulky, crazy. See, I did this too. I cut it in half. You shouldn't cut it in half. You should just put it on one side, glue it down, and then fold it over, put glue on it, fold it over, and stick them together. I learned that on the second one. Sometimes it takes a hot minute to figure out the best way to do stuff, right? But be forewarned that I'm just telling you that's the best way to do it. Put it in the middle of the fabric, put glue on it, and glue it together, and then cut off your extra. That's the best, easiest way to do it. Okay? Not the way I'm showing you here. I mean, this works, but it's just more efficient the other way. So glue your microfiber cloth to your ear forms. You know, quite frankly, if you didn't want to cut the ears off of the wreath form, you could just leave it all together and probably glue cardboard or paper to the front of the wreath that the ears originally came on, and make that the face, right? And not put it on any kind of back, you know, like I'm putting it on the wood. You wouldn't have to put it on there, right? And then you could hang it if you wanted to on your door, if you wanted to make it a wreath, you know, an actual something to put on your door. So you could do that. That could totally work, right? You wouldn't have to cut the ears off that way. Just another idea, if you see these forms at Dollar Tree. My Dollar Tree just got these forms. I picked this one up at a different Dollar Tree about a week ago. But at that point, ours hadn't had these yet. So some of you, you know, may not have seen those yet if you haven't been to Dollar Tree in a few days. I'm not exactly sure when they put it out, but now we're trimming around the edge, and I'm using my pinking shears just because I like the little playful aspect of the, you know, zigzag. You know, you don't want to go all the way to the bottom, or at least I don't, because I have to stick these forms back in the holes on the top. So, you know, that's why I don't go all the way to the bottom. It's funny because these microfiber cloths, much like those mop pads that they have over there, they shed so literally ridiculously. Because when I got done making this, I had that stuff all over me, all over my pants. I couldn't get over how much it was just shedding. It was crazy. So, you know, I have to say I'm not a big fan of this microfiber, but in this instance, it worked. Although, you know, you can use other things, right? Like I originally was going to use some other lightweight kind of white cloth, but then I kind of wanted them a little fuzzy. So that's why I ended up with this. And I was also going to use a light green towel to cover the ears, to kind of match the paper that's on the front, you know, on the piece of wood. But then I ran across this and decided to use this. Again, creative license here. Run with it, and you know, do what you will with what you have at home, or if you know, have some other fabric that you really love that you think will be cute on the ears, I say go for it, right? But they are a little too bright white for me, so here shortly you're going to see how I grunge these ears up. And I hope you love the end result. If you guys are loving my video, please consider subscribing and sharing with your friends. And a big thumbs up would be awesome, helpful for the channel. Again, I can't believe how much the channel's grown since I started it in November, and I truly appreciate everybody who has commented and subscribed and given me a thumbs up my videos. It's very much appreciated, very much. Okay, so here we're going to use the lovely scent of cinnamon to grunge up these ears. So I do the middle first because I want the ears, the middle part of the ears, to be darker than the edges. So I grunge up the middle a little darker than I do the edges. So, you know, go light-handed around the edge unless you want them really grungy. You can even paint them if you wanted to, but it will matte down the, you know, the fiber. But if you're going to, you know, paint the ears, the fabric that you put on the ears, then I wouldn't necessarily use the microfiber. Front and back, don't forget the back. And then go around the edge too. Make sure you go around the edge because the edges are going to be very white if you don't. So here we go around the edges, right? Just rub it in there. And if you don't want to grunge up your ears, leave them white. Maybe put a little pink in there. If you have some blush or maybe some eyeshadow that doesn't have any kind of glitter aspect to it, unless you want that in there, you could certainly do that in the middle. So there's one ear. I'll show you in a minute. I'm sorry, it's off camera. We have to grunge the other one. But the video today is almost over. This is the last step, guys. I truly hope you're enjoying it. I hope you get some ideas. If, you know, like I said, do what you will with what you see me doing. And be creative with whatever you have in your house, right? Being creative every day is, if you can, is, you know, such a release. You know, with such craziness going on lately, you know, it helps to have some downtime and have a little fun, you know, being creative. So I hope you'll try this at home. I would love to see what you come up with if you make it. You can always share it on the community tab on the Rustic South homepage. I would love to see them. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you made it, if you think you're going to make it, if you get some ideas from the video. Again, share and subscribe would be awesome. And turn on your notifications, right? So you get notifications when I do upload a video. I think I'm going to do another one today. Probably coming to an end of rabbit things here shortly. So yeah, so I tuck that behind the head just slightly, you know, just to make it look like it's not oddly just sitting there, right? So there we go. So what do you guys think? Ears covered, ears not covered? What would you do? I would go either way personally. I thought the other way seemed a little more rustic, but, you know, I have to put a little grunge on the ears. So that's the end. Thank you guys. Appreciate you watching. Come back again. Bye.